Nigeria's total value of foreign trade contracted by 8.89% in the second quarter of the year to 6.67 trillion naira from 7.21 trillion naira in the first quarter, but 14.56% growth from second quarter 2017. Our data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the contraction of total trade in the reviewing quarter was mainly driven by the decline in both imports and exports. Now let's get a sense of all of these, and I'm being joined by a research analyst with financial derivatives company, Desola Simoni, all the way from New York. Hello, Desola. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Hi, Chimeze. Thank you for having me.
So we saw the National Bureau of Statistics release the foreign trade statistics for second quarter late yesterday. What do you make of those numbers and what are their implications?
Okay, thank you for that question. Like you said, the total foreign exchange, trade declined by about 9% to 6.57 trillion in Q2. But comparing it to the same period, 2017, you will notice an increase of about 15%, which is positive. Now, the trade balance was a surplus of around 2.36 trillion, which was compared to Q1 2018, it was an increase of about 8%. But when you compare it to the same period last year, it was an increase of approximately 400%. Now, the surplus simply means that the value of exports out of Nigeria was greater than the cost of imports into Nigeria, which further implies that the quantity of foreign exchange leaving the country, was smaller than the quantity coming into the country. And this has been supportive of the foreign exchange stability we have seen in the past few months. Now, a further disaggregation of the data shows that imports declined both quarter on quarter and year on year. Meanwhile, exports, although it declined quarter on quarter, year on year it increased. Now, this data could be indicative that the import substitution strategy of the federal government is yielding some reports, is yielding some results, but we cannot say for sure.
Okay, now, in your view, how has the exchange rate policy of the central bank affected the foreign trade?
Thank you again for that question. In my view, the two most significant foreign exchange policies that the central bank has implemented recently were, one, the weekly or bi-weekly interventions in the foreign exchange market, and the second one was the introduction of the investors and exporters window, which increased forex liquidity and has helped with our forex situation. Now, these two factors improved liquidity and helps to stabilize the foreign exchange, although it was supported by the elevated oil prices and increase in oil production. Now, these factors were expected to help manufacturers, import the manufactured goods and things along those lines. But what we are seeing is that the data shows that manufactured goods, the importation of raw materials declined both quarter on quarter and year on year. Also, the importation of manufactured products also declined quarter on quarter. Again, I think that it could be indicative that the idea of import substitution, like manufacturing companies are now looking away from importing raw materials and trying to source their raw materials locally. It could also imply that a change of taste and preferences among Nigerians from a preference for imported items to more preference for homemade items. So that's what I think, and I think it's having a very, very strong impact.
And how do you think this data will play into the MPC's deliberation later this month?
Yeah, the trade surplus, while is a positive indicator, itself does not tell us much about the overall state of the economy. The central bank is going to factor it into consideration, of course, but it's going to be in the context of the wider economy, in the context of the wider macroeconomic environment. The recent data from the NBS showed that Q2 GDP slowed, which was weaker than expected. We have seen capital importation also I've seen capital importation also decline significantly on significant capital flight. We have seen inflation. We expect inflation to bottom out. So the central bank, the Monetary Policy Committee, is going to take all of these factors together, not only the historical macroeconomic variables, but also the expectation of the future. For instance, the PMI are indicative that the Q3 GDP is going to be strong. The forecast for inflation, which is expected to come out next week, is that it's going to bottom out. So all these factors are going to are what's going to influence the decision of the MPC.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Desola. Desola Simone is one of the research analysts with Financial Derivatives Company here in Lagos.